The stars twinkled against the black void as the small human ship approached the neutral meeting point. Lieutenant Jack Miller stood by the viewport, his blue uniform neat and his posture straight. He was 32 years old, with short brown hair and a scar across his right cheek from a training accident years ago. 5 minutes until we reach the meeting point, sir, said Communications Officer Lisa Wright. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel. Jack nodded. Is everyone ready? The 4 other members of his diplomatic team gave short nods. They had trained for months for this first official meeting with the Zakari Federation. Humans had only discovered alien life 10 years ago, in 2147, and this meeting could open up trade routes and protection for the young human colonies. Remember, Jack said to his team, we represent all of Earth today. Let's make a good impression. The ship slowed as it reached the small space station. It was a simple metal structure floating in the space between 2 star systems. The Zakari had chosen this location because it belonged to no one. I'm getting a strange reading, said Nathan Cole, the team's security officer. There are 2 ships docked at the station, not one. Jack frowned. The Zakari were supposed to send just 1 ship. The second ship doesn't match any known Zakari designs, Lisa said, her voice growing worried. It's not in our database at all. Jack felt a cold feeling in his stomach. Something was wrong. Scan for weapons. Both ships are armed, Nathan reported. The unknown ship has its weapons powered up. Turn us around, Jack ordered. We're leaving. Before Lisa could change their course, a bright flash lit up the viewport. Their ship shook hard. We're hit, Nathan shouted. Engines are damaged. 3 more shots hit their small ship. The lights flickered and alarms blared. They're hailing us, Lisa said. Jack straightened his uniform. Put them through. The screen filled with the image of a creature Jack had never seen before. It had gray-green skin, 4 yellow eyes, and a mouth full of sharp teeth. It wore some kind of metal armor. Humans, the creature said in a rough translation. Your presence has been noted by the Dravax Dominion. Your species will be examined and catalogued. We came for a peaceful meeting with the Zakari, Jack said firmly. We have no quarrel with you. The creature made a sound like rocks grinding together. Jack realized it was laughing. The Zakari will not be joining you. They have provided us with information about your species in exchange for their own safety. You will be boarded. Resistance will result in immediate termination. The screen went black. Sir, what do we do? Asked Dr. Kimberly Ross, her face pale with fear. Jack moved quickly to a storage panel and pulled out the emergency weapons. We fight. Lisa, send a distress signal to Earth. Include everything we know about these Dravax. Nathan, help me barricade the doors. The team worked fast, but they could hear the sounds of the alien ship locking onto theirs. Metal groaned as the airlocks were forced open. The signal is sent, Lisa confirmed. The first Dravax soldiers burst through the door. They were tall, nearly 7 feet, and heavily armed. Jack and his team fired their weapons, but the aliens' armor deflected most shots. Within minutes, 3 of Jack's team lay dead. Only he and Lisa remained fighting. Lisa, run, Jack shouted as he fired at the advancing aliens. A shot hit Lisa in the back as she ran toward the escape pods. She fell without a sound. Jack felt something hit his leg. He looked down to see a small dart. His vision immediately began to blur. As he fell to his knees, the Dravax surrounded him. One leaned down close to his face. You fight well for such a soft species, it said. You will provide much data before you die. Jack's last conscious thought was of the distress signal. Earth would know what happened here, and Earth would respond. In her office on the lunar military base, Admiral Caroline Rivera received the distress signal. She watched the footage from the diplomatic ship with a grim expression. When it ended, she pressed a button on her desk. Get me the Earthborn unit, she said. Priority Alpha. The ESV Defiant hung in space like a dark arrow. Its hull was matte black, designed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Inside, 5 people sat around a metal table as Admiral Caroline Rivera's message played on the screen. Lieutenant Jack Miller and his team were attacked during first contact. Only Jack survived, and he's been taken by a species called the Dravaks. The Admiral's face was stern. Your mission is to find him and bring him home. Show these aliens why they should fear Earth. Commander Olivia Watts turned off the screen. She was 40 years old with short blonde hair and eyes that had seen too much war. Her team looked at her, waiting. "Well," said Mason Harper, "I was getting bored anyway." He was the youngest at 28, with red hair and a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Explosives were his specialty. "The Dravaks," said Dr. Eliza Blackwood. She was tall with dark skin and hands steady enough to perform surgery in zero gravity. "I studied the data from the distress signal. They're a warrior species with advanced tech and a bad attitude. Their ships have good weapons but poor electronic security," added Liam Reeves, not looking up from his tablet. His fingers never stopped moving across the screen. The tech expert had 3 doctoral degrees and could hack almost any system. Sergeant Gregory Daniels said nothing. Everyone called him Ghost because he could move without making a sound. He just cleaned his knife and waited. Olivia stood up. "We leave in 10 minutes. Gear up for a rescue mission." The team moved with practiced ease. Each member had been chosen for the Earthborn unit because they were the best at what they did. They were Earth's secret weapon. "What do we know about where they took Lieutenant Miller?" Olivia asked as they prepared their equipment. Liam displayed a star map. "The signal tracked them to this system. It has a planet called Keros. It's a Dravak's prison world." "A whole planet for prisoners," Mason whistled. "These guys don't mess around." "Neither do we," said Olivia. "Liam, find us a way in. Elisa, prep for possible injuries. Mason, I want explosives that will work in any atmosphere. Ghost, you're on point for the extraction." They all nodded and continued their preparations. An hour later, the Defiant jumped into faster-than-light travel. The stars stretched into lines outside the viewports. "They won't expect us," Olivia said as she checked her rifle. "Humans are new to space. They think we're weak." "Their mistake," Ghost said softly. It was rare for him to speak at all. Eliza looked up from her medical supplies. "The data shows the Dravaks have encountered 17 other species. They see everyone else as resources to be used." "How do they treat prisoners?" Mason asked. Eliza's face darkened. "Not well. If Lieutenant Miller is still alive, he'll need immediate medical attention." The ship hummed as it flew faster than light. The team spent the journey studying everything they knew about the Dravaks and planning their approach. 3 days later, they dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Keros system. The planet hung in space before them, a dusty brown world surrounded by defense satellites. "Scanning defenses," Liam said from his station. "They have orbital weapons platforms and patrol ships." "Can we slip past them?" Olivia asked. Liam smiled. "The Defiant's stealth systems are better than anything they've seen. Yes, we can get in." "Good. Take us down to the surface near the main prison complex." The ship moved silently through space, its special hull-absorbing radar and light. It passed between patrol ships without being detected. "Atmosphere entry in 2 minutes," Liam announced. "I've located a landing zone 5 miles from the prison complex." Olivia looked at her team. They were calm and ready. They had trained for missions like this for years. "Remembered," she said, "we're not just rescuing one man. We're showing the galaxy what happens when you attack Earth. No one takes one of ours." The ship began to descend toward the planet's surface. The mission to rescue Jack Miller was about to begin, and the Dravaks were about to learn why even hardened alien mercenaries would come to fear the words Earthborn unit. The ESV Defiant landed silently in a rocky valley on Keros. Dust swirled around the ship as its engines powered down. Inside, the team made final checks on their gear. Prison scans show over 2,000 life forms, Liam said, looking at his portable computer. Many different species. Our target is in the high-security wing. Olivia nodded. Is he alive? His life signs are weak but stable, Eliza said. We need to hurry. The team exited the ship into the hot, dry air of Karos. The sky above was a strange orange color, and 2 small moons were visible despite the daylight. They moved quickly across the rocky ground, staying low. Movement ahead, Ghost whispered. He pointed to a small spacecraft half hidden behind some rocks. The team approached carefully. The ship was damaged, with burn marks along one side. It wasn't a Dravak's design. Someone's inside, Mason said, checking his scanner. Not Dravak's. Olivia raised her rifle. Come out slowly with your hands visible, she called. There was a moment of silence. Then a thin figure emerged from the ship. It had blue skin, 4 arms, and large black eyes. It looked scared. Please, it said in a halting voice. No hurt. We're not Dravaks, Olivia said, lowering her weapon slightly. Who are you? The alien blinked rapidly. I am Kexra, of the Alatri people. I escaped prison. It pointed at the distant buildings. Many Alatri still there. Dravaks take us for tests. The Liza stepped forward. Tests. What kind of tests? Kexra shuddered. Blood tests. Pain tests. They study how we die. The team exchanged grim looks. Mason swore under his breath. We're here to rescue one of our people, Olivia explained. A human named Jack Miller. Kexra's eyes widened. The new one. Yes, I see him when they bring him. They very interested in humans. Never study humans before. Is he in the main building? Liam asked, showing a map on his tablet. Kexra leaned forward to look. No, special building. He pointed to a smaller structure on the map. High security, where they keep important test subjects. Can you help us get in? Olivia asked. If you do, we'll help free your people too. Kexra seemed to consider this. Dravak's very strong. Very many. So are we, Ghost said quietly. The alien looked at Ghost for a long moment, then nodded. I help. I know codes for outer door. No guard patterns. Good, Olivia said. Let's move out. They continued toward the prison complex with Kexra leading the way. The alien showed them a hidden path through a dry river that provided cover. As they got closer, they could see the prison clearly. It was a series of low, gray buildings surrounded by a high wall. Guard towers stood at regular intervals, and armored Dravaks patrolled the perimeter. Too many guards at main gate, Kexra whispered. We use maintenance entrance. He pointed to a small door in the wall. Liam scanned it with his device. Basic electronic lock. I can handle it. They waited until a patrol passed, then rushed to the door. Liam connected his computer to the lock panel, and his fingers flew across the keys. The door clicked open. We're in, he said. Inside, they found themselves in a narrow service corridor. The walls were metal and the lights were dim. They could hear the sounds of machinery and, more distantly, alien voices. Which way? Olivia asked Kexra. The alien pointed left. That way to special building. But many guards. We'll handle the guards, Mason said, patting the explosives on his belt. Just point us in the right direction. Kexra looked nervous but led them down the corridor. They moved silently, Ghost taking the lead and ensuring the way was clear. As they turned a corner, they came face to face with 2 Dravaks guards. The aliens were tall and heavily armed, just as the briefing had described. Before the guards could react, Ghost was on them. His movements were a blur as he took down both guards without making a sound. They fell to the floor without firing a shot. Kexra stared at Ghost with wide eyes. How? Earthborn unit, Olivia said simply. Let's keep moving. The team moved deeper into the prison complex. The corridors were narrow and dimly lit. Strange sounds echoed from distant rooms. "We need to split up," Olivia said as they reached a junction. "Ghost, and I will find Jack. Eliza, go with Kexra to free the Alatri prisoners. Mason and Liam, secure us an escape route." Everyone nodded. They had worked together long enough to trust each other completely. "Meet back at the south exit in 30 minutes, Olivia added. "If anyone isn't there, we come looking for you." The team separated, each group heading in a different direction. Olivia and Ghost followed Kexra's directions toward the high security area. "2 guards ahead," Ghost whispered, peering around a corner. Olivia checked her stun gun. "We need to keep this quiet." Ghost nodded and disappeared into the shadows. Moments later, the guards slumped to the floor without making a sound. Olivia never even saw Ghost move. They continued to a heavy door marked with alien symbols. Olivia used the code device Liam had given her to unlock it. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside was a long room with cells on each side. Each cell had a transparent front wall. Most contained different alien species. The prisoners looked weak and scared. "Jack should be at the end," Olivia said, checking Liam's data. They moved quickly past the cells, ignoring the stares of the alien prisoners. In the last cell, they found him. Lieutenant Jack Miller lay on a metal table. His uniform was torn and stained with blood. Tubes ran from his arms to strange machines. "Jack," Olivia called softly as she opened the cell. His eyes fluttered open. They were dull with pain. "Who?" "Earthborn unit," she said, moving to remove the tubes from his arms. "We're here to take you home." A weak smile crossed his face. "New Earth wouldn't leave me." Ghost stood guard at the door while Olivia helped Jack to sit up. He winced in pain. "Can you walk?" she asked. "I'll manage," he said through gritted teeth. Meanwhile, Eliza and Kexra reached the section where the Alatri prisoners were kept. There were 20 of them in a large cell. They looked like Kexra, but even thinner and weaker. "Stand back," Eliza told them as she worked on the lock. It clicked open, and the Alatri rushed out, touching Kexra with their 4 arms in what seemed to be a greeting. "We must hurry," Kexra told them in his language. "The humans are helping us escape." On the other side of the complex, Mason and Liam found a small hangar with Dravak's transport vehicles. "Perfect," Mason said, examining a large shuttle. "This can hold all of us plus the Alatri." Liam connected his computer to the shuttle's controls. "I can override their security systems, but it will take a few minutes." "I'll keep watch," Mason said, positioning himself by the door. He placed small explosives at key points around the hangar, and leave a few surprises for our hosts. Suddenly, alarms began to blare throughout the complex. Red lights flashed in the corridors. "So much for the quiet approach," Mason muttered. In the cell block, Olivia helped Jack toward the exit while Ghost covered them. "We've been detected," Olivia said into her communicator. "Everyone head to the rendezvous point now." "The Alatri are with me," Eliza responded, moving to the south exit. "Shuttle secured," Liam added. "But we have company coming." The corridor ahead of Olivia filled with Dravak's guards. Their weapons were raised and pointed at the humans. "Surrender now," the lead guard ordered in a rough translation. Ghost looked at Olivia. She nodded slightly. What happened next was so fast that Jack, despite his military training, could barely follow it. Ghost moved like water between the guards, his combat knife flashing. Olivia fired her weapon with perfect accuracy. Within seconds, all 6 guards were down. Jack stared in amazement. "What are you people?" Olivia helped him forward again. "We're the Earthborn unit. The best Earth has to offer." They hurried through the corridors as more alarms sounded. The prison was now fully alert to their presence, but it was too late for the Dravaks to stop them. "Almost there," Olivia said as they approached the south exit. "Just a little further." The south exit was chaos. Dravak's guards poured in from multiple corridors, firing energy weapons. The air smelled of burned metal and ozone. Eliza and the Alatri prisoners were pinned down behind a metal barrier. Mason and Liam were nowhere to be seen. "Where are they?" Olivia muttered, supporting Jack with one arm while she fired her weapon with the other. Ghost moved like a shadow, appearing behind Dravak's guards and taking them down before they knew he was there. But there were too many. A massive explosion rocked the building. The floor shook and dust fell from the ceiling. A moment later, a large transport shuttle burst through the wall, crushing several Dravaks. The shuttle's side door opened to reveal Mason at the controls, grinning widely. "Need a ride?" "Perfect timing," Olivia called. "Eliza, get the Alatri on board." Eliza led the frightened aliens toward the shuttle while Ghost and Olivia provided cover fire. The Dravaks were regrouping, bringing in heavier weapons. "We need to move now," Liam shouted from inside the shuttle. "More guards are coming." Once everyone was aboard, Mason lifted the shuttle off the ground. It smashed through the ceiling, sending debris raining down on the Dravak's guards. The shuttle shook as it climbed into the orange sky of Karos. "Enemy ships incoming," Liam warned, looking at the scanner. 3 patrol vessels from the east. "Can we outrun them?" Olivia asked, helping Eliza settle Jack on a makeshift bed. Mason shook his head. "This shuttle is built for transport, not speed." "Then we fight," Olivia said firmly. "Liam, can you access the weapons system?" "Already on it," Liam replied, his fingers dancing across a control panel he had rewired. "Basic plasma cannons, but they'll work." The first Dravak's patrol ship appeared behind them, firing warning shots that flashed past the shuttle. "They want us alive," Jack said weakly. "For their experiments." "Not happening," Mason growled, spinning the shuttle in a tight turn that no transport should have been able to make. The movement brought them face to face with the pursuing ship. Liam fired the plasma cannons. The Dravak ship's forward section exploded, and it spiraled down toward the planet's surface. The other 2 ships approached more cautiously, splitting up to attack from different angles. "We can't fight both," Liam warned. "We don't need to," Olivia said. "The Defiant is waiting. Mason, take us to the ship." Mason pushed the shuttle's engines beyond their limits. The vehicle shuddered as it climbed higher into the atmosphere. "They're gaining," Liam reported. Suddenly, a sleek black shape descended from above. The ESV Defiant, its weapons ports open. It fired precise shots that crippled both pursuing Dravak ships without destroying them. "That's our ride," Mason said with a grin, guiding the shuttle toward the Defiant's open bay doors. The shuttle landed roughly in the Defiant's hangar. The team quickly transferred Jack and the Alatri prisoners to the human ship. "Get us out of here," Olivia ordered as she reached the bridge. The Defiant rose smoothly and accelerated away from Karos. More Dravak ships were launching from the surface, but they were too late. The human ship entered faster than light travel, disappearing from their sensors. In the medical bay, Eliza treated Jack's wounds. The Alatri huddled together, still shocked by their sudden freedom. "You got me out," Jack said, looking at Olivia. "I didn't think anyone could break into that place." "We don't leave our people behind," she replied. Jack's expression grew serious. "They were studying us, learning about humans. They're planning something big." "What do you mean?" Olivia asked. "The Dravaks aren't just prison keepers. They're gathering information on all species, finding weaknesses." Jack winced as Eliza cleaned a deep cut on his arm. "They're preparing for war, and Earth is their next target." The room fell silent. Even the Alatri seemed to sense the gravity of his words. "Then we need allies," Olivia said finally. "Liam, set course for Nexus 9. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when you threaten Earth." Nexus 9 was a massive space station that hung in neutral territory between 3 star systems. Ships of all designs and sizes docked at its many ports. It was a place where different species came to trade, share information, and make alliances. The ESV Defiant approached cautiously. This would be the first time humans had openly visited Nexus 9. Multiple ships are scanning us, Liam reported from his station. Word of our prison break has spread. Jack, now recovered enough to walk, stood on the bridge with Olivia. The Dravaks will have put a bounty on humans by now. Let them try, Mason said, checking his weapons. We can handle bounty hunters. Olivia shook her head. We're not here to fight. We're here to find allies. She turned to Kexra, who had chosen to stay with them. Will your people help us? The alien nodded his blue head. Alatri will help. You saved us. But we are small species, not strong fighters. We need more, Olivia said. Liam, what other species might stand against the Dravaks? Liam displayed information on the main screen. The Vishrak have fought the Dravaks before. They're traders with a large fleet, and the Norva are a warrior race that values honor. They might respect what we did on Karos. Both have representatives on Nexus 9, Jack added. I learned about them during my captivity. The Defiant docked at an outer port of the station. The team prepared to disembark, all except Ghost, who would stay with the ship. Remember, Olivia told her team, we're diplomats now. Let's try not to start any fights. They stepped onto Nexus 9, drawing stares from the various aliens moving through the busy docking area. Some moved away quickly, while others watched with obvious curiosity. Kexra led them to a large open area in the center of the station. It was filled with tables where different species sat talking, eating strange foods, and making deals. Many important people here, Kexra explained. Good place for meeting. As they entered, conversation stopped. All eyes turned to the humans. Word travels fast, Eliza murmured. A tall, thin alien with purple skin approached them. It wore ornate clothing and had 6 fingers on each hand. You are the humans who broke into Karos prison, it said in clear English. I am Ambassador Vel of the Vishrak. Your actions have caused quite a stir in this sector. We rescued our man, Olivia said simply, and some others who were being held unjustly. The ambassador made a gesture that might have been a smile. The Dravaks are not accustomed to having their prey escape. It is refreshing to see. Another alien stepped forward. This one was shorter but powerfully built, with red skin and bone ridges along its arms. I am Kravenar of the Norva. We have heard of your combat skills. They are said to be impressive. We do what's necessary, Olivia replied. The Dravaks say humans are dangerous, unpredictable. The Norva studied them with yellow eyes. They have placed a high bounty on you. We're only dangerous to those who threaten us, Jack said, stepping forward. I was their prisoner. I saw their plans. The Dravaks are preparing for war against multiple species, including yours. A murmur ran through the watching crowd. Ambassador Vel's posture stiffened. You have proof of this? He asked. Liam activated a small device that projected images into the air. They showed Dravak's research facilities, weapon designs, and star maps with attack routes marked. We downloaded this from their systems during our escape, Olivia explained. The Dravaks aren't just prison keepers or mercenaries. They're preparing a major offensive. Kravenar of the Norva leaned closer to examine the projections. These are Norva worlds, he said, pointing to several marked planets. They plan to attack us. And Vishrak trade routes, Ambassador Vel added, his voice tight with concern. They would cripple our economy. They plan to attack everyone, one by one, Olivia said. Starting with Earth, since we're new to space, and they think we're weak. She looked around at the gathered aliens. But together, we might stand a chance. The alliance was formed quickly. The Vishrak provided ships, the Norva offered warriors, and the Alatri contributed their knowledge of Dravak's technology. The humans brought their unpredictable tactics and the fearsome skills of the Earthborn unit. They gathered on the bridge of the ESV Defiant to make their plan. Holograms showed the location of the Dravak's fleet. They're already moving, Liam said, pointing to clusters of ships. Their main force is heading toward Earth. Everyone stared at the display. The Dravaks had assembled over 50 warships. We can intercept them here, Ambassador Vel said, indicating a point in space near Jupiter. The combined Vishrak and Norva fleet can match their numbers. Numbers aren't everything, Jack said quietly. He still moved with pain from his time as a prisoner. The Dravaks have studied how each species fights. They'll be prepared for standard tactics. Then we don't use standard tactics, Olivia replied. She looked at her team. We hit their command ship directly. Cut off the head, and the body falls. Kravenar of the Norva made a sound of approval. A bold strategy. My warriors will join this assault. No, Olivia said firmly. This is a mission for the Earthborn unit. Your forces should focus on the main battle. The red-skinned alien looked offended for a moment, then nodded with respect. You wish to prove human worth in combat. This is honorable. Plans were made quickly. The Allied fleet would engage the Dravaks in open space while the Defiant, using its advanced stealth technology, would slip through the battle and target the Dravaks' command ship. As they prepared to depart, reports came in from Earth's defense fleet. The Dravaks had been spotted entering the solar system. We need to move now, Olivia ordered. The Dravaks can't reach Earth. The Allied ships jumped to faster-than-light travel, racing toward the solar system. The Defiant pushed its engines to their limits, moving faster than any ship its size should be able to. Engine core temperature rising. Liam warned as the ship shuddered around them. We're pushing her too hard. We have no choice, Olivia replied. Can she hold together until we reach the battle? Liam checked his readings. Barely, but we won't have much power left for fighting. Mason laughed from his station. We won't need the engines to fight. We just need to get close enough to board their command ship. Everyone looked at him in surprise. Board it, Ambassador Vel asked. That's suicide. That's the Earthborn unit, Jack said with a grim smile. They dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Jupiter. The scene before them was chaos. Earth's defense fleet was already engaged with the Dravaks. Human ships fought bravely, but were outnumbered and outgunned. Allied fleet arriving in 3 minutes, Liam reported. We're not waiting, Olivia decided. Activate stealth systems. Take us in. The Defiant's special hull absorbed radar and light as it slipped between battling ships. Energy weapons and explosions flashed all around them, but they remained undetected. Dravak's command ship identified, Liam said, highlighting a massive vessel at the center of the enemy fleet. It was 3 times the size of any other ship. That's where their supreme commander will be, Jack said, his hands clenched into fists. Vexcor. He's the one who ordered my capture. Then that's who we're going after, Olivia replied. She turned to her team. Suit up. We're boarding that ship. They prepared for battle while Mason and Liam guided the Defiant closer to the massive enemy vessel. The team wore combat armor with Earth's flag on the shoulders. Just as they reached the Dravak ship, the Allied fleet arrived. Vishrak and Norva vessels engaged the Dravaks, drawing their attention away from the Defiant. This is our chance, Olivia said. Mason, ram us into their hangar bay. Mason grinned. With pleasure, Commander. The Defiant turned sharply and accelerated toward the open hangar of the Dravak's command ship. Alarms blared as they crashed through the energy shield and skidded across the hangar floor, crushing smaller Dravak's vessels. Smoke filled the Dravak's hangar bay as the Earthborn unit emerged from their crashed ship. Alarms blared and red lights flashed. Dravak soldiers rushed toward them, weapons raised. Form up, Olivia ordered. Ghost, lead the way to the command center. Ghost nodded and moved forward, almost invisible in the smoke. The rest of the team followed, firing with deadly accuracy at the approaching Dravaks. I'm coming too, Jack said, checking the weapon Olivia had given him. She looked at him for a moment, then nodded. Stay close. They'd fought their way through the corridors of the massive ship. The Dravaks were strong and well-armed, but they weren't prepared for the speed and skill of the human team. "They fight like they've studied us," Mason said as he set explosive charges to clear a blocked passage. "But they've never actually fought humans before." "That's our advantage," Olivia replied. "We're unpredictable." Liam worked on a control panel, hacking into the ship's systems. Command Center is 2 levels up. Their Supreme Commander Vexcor is there. As they moved upward, the resistance grew stronger. The elite Dravaks guards in heavy armor blocked their path. "Allow me," Eliza said unexpectedly. She stepped forward and threw small devices at the guards. The devices stuck to their armor and released a gas that seeped through the joints. The guards fell, unable to breathe. "Medical knowledge works both ways," she explained calmly. "I studied their biology while treating Jack." They reached the command center doors. They were massive and sealed tight. "This will take time to hack," Liam said, examining the security system. "We don't have time," Olivia replied. She looked at Mason. "Make us a door." Mason grinned and placed explosives in a pattern around the doorframe. "Fire in the hole." The explosion rocked the ship. When the smoke cleared, there was a large hole where the door had been. The team rushed in, weapons ready. The command center was huge, with control stations manned by Dravaks officers. At the center stood a massive figure in ornate armor. "Vexcor," Jack said, his voice hard. The Supreme Commander of the Dravaks turned slowly. He was nearly 8 feet tall, with scars across his gray-green face. His yellow eyes widened at the sight of the humans. "Impossible," he growled. "No species has ever breached a Dravaks command ship." "We're not just any species," Olivia replied. "We're humans." Vexcor drew a large energy weapon. "The test subject," he said, looking at Jack. "You should have died on Karos." "You underestimated us," Jack said. "All of you did." The Dravaks officers reached for weapons, but Ghost moved faster than sight, disarming them before they could fire. Mason and Eliza covered the other exits while Liam went to a control station. "Surrender now," Olivia demanded. "Order your fleet to stand down." Vexcor laughed, a harsh sound like grinding metal. "Dravaks do not surrender." He fired his weapon at Olivia. She dove aside, but the shot caught her in the shoulder. She fell to one knee, her armor smoking. Jack fired at Vexcor, hitting the Dravaks commander in the arm. But Vexcor kept coming, charging toward Jack with rage in his yellow eyes. "You were my specimen," he roared. "My property." "I'm a human," Jack said, standing his ground. "From Earth, and we belong to no one." As Vexcor reached him, Jack sidestepped with surprising speed. The Dravaks commander stumbled past him. Ghost appeared behind Vexcor, striking key pressure points in the alien's armor. Vexcor fell to his knees, paralyzed but conscious. "I've accessed their systems," Liam called from the control station. "I can broadcast to the entire Dravaks fleet." "Do it," Olivia ordered, standing up despite her injury. Liam activated the ship-wide communication system. "This is the Earthborn unit. Your commander is defeated. Your command ship is ours. Stand down or be destroyed." On the main screen, they could see the space battle. The Allied fleet had turned the tide against the Dravaks. As the message spread, Dravak ships began to cease fire. "They're surrendering," Liam said in amazement. Olivia looked down at Vexcor. "You studied humans as specimens. You never understood what we really are." "What are you?" the Dravaks commander asked, hatred in his voice. Jack answered for her. "We're the species that came from a high-gravity world, that evolved as both prey and predator. We're the ones who never give up, who fight hardest when cornered." He looked around at his teammates. "And these are the best of us. The Earthborn unit." The battle was over. Earth was saved. And across the galaxy, word began to spread of the humans who had defeated the mighty Dravaks. From that day forward, even the hardened alien Mercs who feared nothing else would fall silent at the words Earthborn unit.